So look, we're going to jump across into the main course. And I mean, everyone, this is what we're here for. This is a pretty big final. This is the final people have been calling for.
I agree. What you're saying is before the main course, we should cheers. We've got a nice bottle of wine here, and we're going to cheers not only for the fact that it's the grand final, but also because we're celebrating, and it's very nice of you to bring this bottle of wine in to celebrate me. Another grand final appearance for myself in fantasy football. So thank you, Nelson. I really appreciate it.
We didn't do this last year for me.
No, not at all. This is a bigger moment.
This is a self-promotion. That's what it is.
Well, you're pouring the wine.
You bought the wine. Here. I just want everyone to know you bought the wine. I'm not celebrating anything. In fact, I'm not going to cheers. I'm going to cheers. Tink. That's what you get. That's how you get a fake cheers. It's not mine.
That's yours. All right. So let's talk about the grand final for Super Rugby Pacific, the first ever. And I love how every year now there's the inaugural grand final. Every year the competition is slightly different. But the inaugural Super Rugby Pacific grand final.
The Blues versus the Crusaders. It's Barrett versus Molnar. It's Rico versus Goodhue. It's Perifeta or Perifranchise versus Will Jordan. This is a big matchup.
Yeah, absolutely massive. It's going to be played in Auckland, 7 p.m. I was going to say Kiwi time.
It is Kiwi time.
Kiwi time. Yeah, it's 5 p.m. over here, which is a nice early game. So I'll be struggling to watch that because I'll be at the Shoot Shield. Maybe I'll watch on delay. But anyway, so we have what we predict as the lineups here, which we'll go through. I would just say the weatherman gave us a call. We haven't had him on this year, but he did give me a call. He said they're saying 14 degrees.
Yep.
58% chance of light rain, 0.3 mil. So I think there's like a little sprinkle. Like
it's almost mist. It's just mist.
Yeah.
Salt Bay. It's rain bay.
A little rain. A little bit of
rain bay.
Yeah, a little bit of rain bay. So I think good conditions for the grand final, which is awesome to see because the back lines on these two teams is just outrageous. So I want to see them play. It's a repeat of the 1998 and 2003 Super Rugby finals, which see them one apiece in the Big Dance. They both hosted one. The Crusaders won 98. The Auckland Blues won 2003. So this is going to be a big ask. The Blues at home. Is it going to go 2-1 and stay on trend?
I mean, that's what the stats are saying. 100% home final winners between these two sides. In terms of new injuries, look, we're not too sure about the Sammy Whitelock finger injury.
Thumb. Yeah. So they're waiting. I think he'll probably just play. Like, look, I don't know what it is, but wouldn't you just brace it and play regardless?
I think they said something along those lines throughout last week, saying, look, if next week we make the finals, he's just going to play.
There's not a lot of thumb injuries that you would say you cannot play. Like it'd have to be operation or he's playing its grand final.
Yeah. So let's just count him in.
You know, they say you got to lose one to win one. How many do you need to lose to win 13? Because that's where the Crusaders are going for this time. Or to win 6 in a row. How many do you need?
6. Well, I mean, there's a caveat there.
There's no caveat, mate. There's no caveat. They went undefeated and didn't even get to play a final in the Tasman competition, which is a joke.
Look, fair enough. They've won 12 grand finals, 5 under Razor Robinson. This is a powerful Crusaders.
He won his first year, didn't he?
Yes.
So he's never lost a season.
He's never lost a grand final.
Outrageous.
Never lost a season that he's had finals involved. But yeah, look, the last matchup between these two sides was the Crusaders versus the Blues. And it was Crusaders 23, Blues taking this one out 27. The Blues actually had a 24-10 point lead before the Crusaders defied that Scott Barrett red card and found their way back in the match with the Sever Reece double, getting them within 4 points.
It was almost like that red card woke them up and they were just not quite switched on before that, despite the massive, stakes of the game.
It feels like it's one of those arguments people have against the 20-minute red card, that it seems to wake teams up and they win, and it doesn't seem like a punishment in that sense. I'm an advocate for the 20-minute red card, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, it does make sense when you see how often a team that gets that 20-minute red card comes back and wins. It doesn't seem as big a team punishment, but it was that thing that, really kicked them into gear, I think, in this match.
Yeah, obviously they're not going to be hoping for needing the same
punishment.
Although Pablo Matera, if he has his way.
He is on the field. Wait, is he going to play more than 10 minutes? Because he's probably going to get a card.
I'd say way more than 10.
Every 9.5.
Let's say, look, the other ones, no new injuries from the weekends just gone. We touched on the Pablo assessment there, but other than that, everyone all good, other than obviously Sam Whitelock. They're going to see if he's going to come back.
I mean, we were just talking about their last matchup. You forgot about the finale of that match.
Oh, sorry.
The end of it.
Go on then, mate. Go on.
There was a Mwanga loop pass that hit Gardner, not Angus Gardner, Dom Gardner, I think on the chest, who took himself to the line. They were about to snatch that win, but it was brilliance in the heart from Rico and Papali'i that managed to hold him up over the line. No Papali'i this week. But, I mean, there is a Rico Ioane, and there are a lot of players in this blue side who have stood up throughout the year. So if it comes down to these final moments, we know the Blues have been able to close out these tight ones. They've done it against the Brumbies. They've done it against the Crusaders here. They've done it against the Waratahs, kicking field goals in 2 of those in the final moments. They know how to close out a game, but they also know how to let a team back in. This is an example of it as well. They had a clear 24 to 10 point lead here that they let go. They had a clear lead against the Tars that they let go. They had a clear lead against the Brumbies that they ended up just scraping the win. So, I mean, this is a big one here. So, in terms of any other players returning,
yeah. So, I mean, they had Bryce Hean get concussed in the quarterfinal. He didn't get selected for the semi. I wonder if that was purely just because they wanted to name their team at the start of the week, and obviously he has to go through his protocol. So I think he's a potential option for this week. They had Tamati Tua on the bench last week. I just think that he should at least be above him if he's on the bench as a player that can cover the centres or the outside backs.
Do you put him over AJ Lamb? So there's an issue around that.
I would say they would if he wasn't concussed, but AJ Lamb's had a couple of exceptional games, and I think that they would probably just try and stick with like for like at this stage of the season as well.
He does give him that cover. I mean, if you're talking about AJ Lamb and Zahn Sullivan, 2 back 3 players as well on the bench. Although that's your best players in the squad, doesn't give you the same finisher of Hean. Coming off the bench, covering multiple positions.
Yeah, exactly. And then look, the other ones, you mentioned Papali'i having his appendix out and that they won't be here. They're still not ruling him out. Him and Caleb Clark with his hemi as well. The coach refused to say they won't play. Keeps going, we'll leave it, until Wednesday, work out if he can play or not. Let's just say now he's almost definitely not playing. Either of them. They're not playing.
I mean,
there's no way Papali'i's playing after the operation, but Caleb Clark surely not.
Look, I mean, as a coach, you want to keep the other team guessing, and this is a clear example of that.
Yeah, I think that's all it is. I think it's a bit of gamesmanship. Now, can we buy tickets?
No. So, I mean, there was 5 home games last year in New Zealand? Not a single one sold out. 2 against Australia in Auckland, where this is being played. Not a single game sold out. Do you know how long it took for this game to sell out, Harry?
4 days.
Less than 5 hours. 50,000 tickets in less than 5 hours.
Yeah, it's good to see the Auckland crowd actually get behind their team because it's been a long time coming, this grand final, and I don't think they sold out a single game against any side with the All Blacks last year, despite it being the basic New Zealand home of rugby. So this is the biggest crowd they've had there in a long, long time. I think it's looking at being a record crowd for Eden Park.
Look, it's been a decade since the Crusaders, since the Blues have looked any good.
Yeah.
No, it was about a decade, I think, give or take. But look, last year not included, but we didn't have a true final. So, I mean, it's been a long time coming, and this is a fan base starved of some silverware that actually matters.
Yeah,
not like their plastic cup they got last year.
Yeah, that's right. Look, I was trying to look at where the Blues could attack the Crusaders. On screen, we've got what the teams were last week. Obviously, we've mentioned the possible changes. There's not a lot there, so I think that's likely going to be the starting side. I think the obvious one is Nipo Lalala versus George Bower. Now, George Bower is in the All Blacks camp, but they've picked Karl Tui Unukwafe because they say he is their best scrummaging loosehead, despite the fact that he can't even get a start at the Blues. And the fact that he's not even all that fit, and they know they can't play him for that many minutes. But I think if he's the benchmark and George Bower's behind him, although, yes, he's a young prop and I think there's a lot of upside to him.
Bower?
Yeah.
How old's Bower?
28.
29?
Yeah.
That's not that young, is it?
Young and experienced. But the point being, I just think Nepo Lala is going to have him for breakfast. I think James Slipper is a much better loose head than George Bower. And I think with how dominant Lala was, he is in absolute form. He's a wrecking ball at the scrum.
Sorry, we're both wrong. He's 30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not spend too much more time on that. But I think that's one area where if I was the Blues, I would genuinely be going for scrums and just calling Nepo to just run over the top of him and try and just grind down the game that way.
Look, I mean, it's a really good shout. I think it's the one place...
Works for the Chiefs. Oh, wait, no, it didn't.
No, but it's definitely one place that the Blues, have the ups on the Crusaders here. And it is, yes, we're picking Lala, who, he fell out of form and fell out of favour for the Blues throughout this year after, I think it was a card, midway through the year. And last week found himself back and it was all because Ethan de Groot just dominated off at the fast there in the quarterfinals, and I think that's when Nepo stepped in and all of a sudden short up their scrum and they went, oh yeah, that's right, he's pretty good. He's Man Mountain, he's actually pretty good in the scrum. So I think that's a huge opportunity for them. And then I was looking across the back lines, and honestly, I'm looking at the matchups, like you said, Richie Moe versus Bodie Barrett, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck versus Avili, Rico versus Goodhue. The only opportunity I see here is, number one, for the Crusaders, Will Jordan just beating anyone in his path. But I reckon Jack Goodhue, we mentioned last week how off the pace he was at the moment coming back from his knee injury, as good as a defender as he is. If Goodhue's trying to make up for a defensive read of Fainga and Nuku, I love how he's listed as Faninga. I was about to call you out.
I don't know how that came. That's a copy paste. That's straight from rugby.com.au.
Faninga.
Yeah, rugby.com.au are definitely not the best on their stats and lineup details, or anything. I'm well aware that's not how you spell it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rico Ioane, if he's given a little sniff of space, I think there's a couple of line break opportunities for them, just because Jack Goodhue at the moment does not have his normal pace to catch up.
I think that's it. The Goodhue being slightly slower, Fainga Nuku, who we saw throughout the quarterfinal, making some very incorrect defensive reads. Rico Ioane should be primed here to tear these two apart, and I do really think it's another big strength for the Blues. This is two very, very good back lines. We know Crusaders always have good back lines. For the Blues, they were one good fly half away from having a dominant back line, and they've got that fly half, and they've also had another fly half step up in fullback in Stephen Perra-Franchise. So they've somehow got these two fly halves now filling these roles, which is the thing they've been missing for so long, and helps them unlock all that talent out wide. No Caleb Clark, but they just have so much power throughout this back line, and we know the Crusaders and what they can do. Goodhue All Black, Havili All Black, Fainga Nuku finally in the squad should be getting some game time. Sever Reese been dominant for a number of years, and Will Jordan could become one of the biggest, best All Blacks of all time. Really, he is that bloody good.
I love how early people are calling this.
No, he is that good. Will Jordan is phenomenal.
Yeah, it depends if you can stay injury free and how long you can keep his jet shoes.
Yeah, there's a lot that to be able to be claiming that you're one of the best All Blacks.
He's got a hell of a lot of potential.
He has the talent to do it.
He's already feeling some of it. I'll give him that too. Yeah. How about the Crusaders? Where's their opportunity?
Look,
other than Will Jordan,
one of the big things for the Crusaders are they really know how to win finals. We talked about how many finals they've won in the past, and how good they've been throughout, the last 7-8 years, winning 5 championships and just been such a solid side throughout the whole Super Rugby.
It says winning 5 of the last 7 or 8.
Well, it's the last 5.
It's 5 of the last 5, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I said how good they've been for that extended period of time. The few years prior to that as well, not getting the wins. But Razor Robertson didn't come into a mud side that took over.
He did. They were pretty average.
That's
under Todd Blacker.
That's a pretty big call.
For their standards, for their lofty
standards. For their standards, yes. But look, I think a clear thing where the Crusaders need to really capitalise here is through the line out. So we talked about the Blues having a real strength in set piece in terms of scrum time, and I think the Crusaders have that vice versa in line out time. If you're looking at Goodhue Robinson as the 2 second rowers for the Blues compared to Scott Barrett and compared to Whitelock if he's available, that is definitely a stronger line out for the Crusaders, significantly stronger.
And I think it says that how much they need Whitelock as well to just kind of solidify that. Barrett, I think, has been exceptional through the finals as a player that I think sometimes doesn't quite fulfill the potential and the credit he's been given.
Yeah.
I think he's been fantastic the last 2 games, so he obviously needs to keep that form up. But Whitelock, I think, is a really big key for them. And, you compare it to the likes of the Blue side. Josh Goodhue only got put into the starting position for his 2nd game in the semi-final, and Tom Robinson's been playing 6th for the majority of his Super Rugby career. So
how many locks have they lost in the last 2-3 years? That are really quite good locks.
Yeah, exactly right. I think Sam Darry is another young player coming through for them that can't get a start at the moment because Luke Romano is just the perfect finisher. But it's crazy to think that they can just completely change this lock pairing, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's not Goodhue and Robinson again, to be honest. It could be Tucker. Tucker could get slotted again.
Honestly, I wouldn't hate to see Tucker and see someone like Tom Robinson on the bench who can cover back row, because last week they carried Tucker and Romano on the bench.
Yeah.
So it would be a pretty ballsy move to chuck Tucker in, I suppose, over Big Sauce. With Big Sauce there last week and them getting that win. But
he was very good last week. He's not getting dropped.
He was good last week, but he hasn't been that all year.
No, he hasn't.
He hasn't been that all year. But look, realistically, for me, this comes down to if the Crusaders are forced to make 200-plus tackles again this week against the potent Blues attack that we've seen throughout this entire year with the Bowden Barrett direction that they've had in 2022, it could be a time that we get to see again the Carlos Spencer-esque flipping of the bird to the Crusaders as the Blues take out a championship here. You cannot give those opportunities to the Blues and give them huge amounts of possession when they have this back line, they have this, strong, big forward pack. The Crusaders definitely need to make sure they're in this game and they've got ball in hand.
I've got a big question.
Yeah.
Who from the Blues lineup who flips the bird?
Who's going to flip the bird?
Yeah. Who's your guy?
It's Rieko Ioane.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
But I think it might be more like a bit subtle.
It's a crossed arm leaning to the side, and you could just see out of the back of his arm.
I'm not liking what the camera's doing. It's censoring us.
You just get a rude finger sticking out the back of the crossed arm.
It'll be subtle from him.
You can't see it on camera, but everyone in the Crusaders side can see it.
Yeah. All right. As we always do, mate.
It could be Akira Ioane.
Who's your
just blatant?
I was thinking he was my
blatant 2 fingers. Blatant 2 fingers, just sticking it right up.
So it's the Ioane brothers.
It's one of the Ioanes, if not both.
I could see maybe per franchise just having that cheeky.
I don't know. I don't think it's in his character.
No, he's trying to play good for the All Blacks as well. All right. Who is your fantasy man of the match for this game? Who's going to score the most points?
I don't think you want to hear it. It's Bowden Barrett. He has been so pivotal in the last couple of weeks, and he really has shone and grown in leaps and bounds in these few weeks. And to say
I'm picking Richie Mo first, so don't tell me that.
And that's what I said. Like, honestly, Bowden Barrett these last 2 weeks, as you said, not kicking, doesn't matter. He has been so pivotal to their side. And last week was in the rain, in a dire attacking game at points, and he still did what he managed to do.
He's due a down week. He's definitely due.
The other option for me,
you don't get
do you want me to say it? If you don't say it, I'll say
it. Okay. I'm thinking. All right. I think the top scorer.
Yep.
Will be Will Jordan.
Yeah, it's good. It's not bad.
So I'm thinking Will Jordan, he's the guy that when nothing is on, the Crusaders throw the ball to him and he'll make a line break and 4 tackle busts. So he's going to play 80 minutes. I think he's got that X factor that means that he's just going to have the opportunity to score more than any other player in the back line. And I think if there's any sniff of an open game, it'll be him.
Do you know his average in the last 2 weeks?
120.
34 points.
Yeah, it's
is
2
his
weeks.
average.
It's 2 weeks. Who cares?
The other one could be. This is the one I was hoping you'd probably say is Rico Ioane. I mean, we talked him up and talked about the matchup.
We said
them.
that last week against Satisford, man. He did nothing.
Mate, he got 44 points the first week, and last week he got 43 points. So he's averaging 43.5. He's 10 points better than the guy you're picking.
Quiet, yeah. He's quiet.
Nah, look. And this time he's versing a slow Goodhue and a Fanning and a Inuku who no one's ever even heard of.
I mean, Goodhue's got to be better. Goodhue's got to be better than Satisford, though.
But he's slower.
Yeah, it's true. All right, look, let's press on. Your tip, who you got?
This is tough. Should I go with my heart or my head?
Head.
No, I'm going to go with my heart. I don't want to see the Crusaders win again, so I'm going to pick the Blues.
So your heart says the Blues.
My heart says the Blues.
You're the worst.
I don't want to see the Crusaders. It's been there, done that. It's boring to see the same team win all the time.
I'm backing Crusaders to win again.
Then your heart or your head?
Both. I fucking love the Crusaders dynasty. It's so good.
If
they're against the Tars, I want them to lose, or the Brumbies, I want them to lose. But Crusaders Blues? No, I don't care that New Zealand Rugby's putting all their money into the Blues. I want Crusaders to go again.
I think the Crusaders have had their time, and we need to see a fall. They haven't been the better team this year. The Blues have been. The Blues were lucky.
They're peaking at the right time.
If the Blues win, we know the Brumbies should have won the comp. So, done for me.